And we're back.
What happened to the awkward hello? You're supposed to go, hello.
That's going to be my intro for everything.
I'm technically not back.
Wait.
Well, you are technically back. I mean, you were in other streams and other times.
Correct.
I'm not back. I'm new.
Oh, yes. Tim is new. Tim also has the best voice in the world.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
really nice.
Tim is just going to talk for the rest of the stream.
Wow,
I didn't prepare for that at all.
Surprise.
Maybe you should actually introduce people.
Yes,
or-
I will introduce people. We are now joined by our wonderful Diablo 4 developers. We have Tim Ismay. May I introduce you?
Hello, Tim Ismay. I'm one of the lead producers on Diablo 4, specifically focused on seasons. I say that because if you ask me questions outside of the season's context, I have no idea what's going on.
And you said plural.
You said
Wait,
plural.
there's more than one season.
I'm trying to build more than one season.
There is more than one season. That's going to be, we're revealing that.
Or that's job security right there.
I'm actually just asking for it.
Wait, we're supposed to be thinking about job security? Damn it.
And we have a familiar face.
Joey P.
Yes, I'm Joe Papora. I'm the Associate Game Director for the live service, and I'm excited to talk about Season 1 today, at last.
But first.
But first.
Oh, but first. That's right.
Because Adam has built everything possible to talk about except the season.
right.
You can never start talking about seasons until we talk about something else first. But there are cool things to actually talk about.
Correct. Obviously, it's been a little over a month since Diablo 4's launched.
It's only been a month.
Is it? Well, if you include
No, but you're right.
access.
It is.
Yeah.
Like I always, the amount of feedback we get about like, hey, this thing, and you're like, it's been like 5 weeks. Like,
Exactly.
give us a second.
Exactly.
So
it has been a month, a little bit more than a month since Diablo 4 has
wait,
actually
how did you
launched.
guys get a season done in 4 weeks? That's incredible.
We started it well before the game launched.
that's smart.
We actually released it.
We're extremely good at our job.
Wait, so you
I don't want to get in
started
the weeds to
before the
everybody.
game
I don't
launched?
want to get in the weeds to everybody, but like we did start before the game launched to make sure that we could actually release
I thought you were just
something.
going to say zombies are really easy to make, and so therefore it was.
Yeah,
Oh my
obviously,
God.
that's what it is. Okay.
Also, people are saying that your mic is low, Mr. Joey P.
My
no.
mic
Yeah,
is low.
so I don't
Okay.
know if
I'll bring it in a little
we'll
bit.
fix that. I promise. Live broadcast, everyone.
I
Live
can
broadcast.
project everybody.
Yeah,
That's
he
what's
can-
going to take.
He can start screaming.
Just scream at everybody.
And you haven't seen
I
Joey P
interrupted.
scream.
So
Sorry.
you're talking about the 5 week. I was just shocked by the 5 week thing, but anyway.
Correct.
So yes, it's been
so
5 weeks.
obviously it's been 5 weeks since we launched. We've had numerous updates to the game, hot fixes, patches. We actually had a campfire chat in between where we talked about even a big update that was coming before season 1.
13-page.
Yes, 13 page. Which people are like, well, that must have been like 14 point font, double spaced. And I'm like, maybe it was, but it still was very big. It was like 11 pages and it went on the actual site. But we've addressed a lot of feedback and everything related to the game. We still have more feedback that we're actually going to be addressing. And I will say that later this afternoon there is going to be another patch, climb patch. Surprise, spoilers, or announcement. We will have patch 104. That's going to be hitting all platforms later this afternoon. There will be patch notes posted this afternoon. Very much not as chonky as 103, but it does address additional feedback and issues that people have been reporting over to us in the actual patch notes.
Come on, put you on the spot.
Funny enough, I actually have this printed out?
I don't think you can say that 1.04 is coming this afternoon and not give an example of something we're fixing in 104.
I know that they are actually doing a gameplay fix in regards to, or a gameplay adjustment to Helltide chests, so that Helltide chests will now actually drop unique items.
Yeah, have the chance to drop unique items. But yes.
Sorry. Have the chance, not like a guarantee. Now that's quoted, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
But,
So that's okay. That sounds stupid for me as the GM to go like, I thought they already could drop uniques with Helltide chests, so I was mistaken there.
Yeah. It's so there are some content types that the rewards are not dropping like unique items from it. So like like Whisper bounty caches, for example, don't have a chance to drop unique items when you turn in for those.
Didn't know that either.
Yeah, but I think that there's opportunities for us to continue to like try to expose this more as we talk about these things moving forward. But yeah, this is an opportunity now. We want to make sure that when players are trying to target farm for certain kinds of uniques for their builds they need to grab in order to bring those things online, that those Whisper caches really can be used as a way to or not Whisper caches, the tortured gifts you can get from the Helltides events. Those are really good opportunities to go and try to go for those.
And that's this afternoon. So once 104 goes out, once you're uniques can drop in.
That's right.
LHS.
That's right. That's this afternoon.
Yep, and I will say, like, we've been getting, like we've mentioned, I think many times already in this stream, we have been getting a lot of feedback related to bugs, issues, or even just like general gameplay feedback, and it's something that the team has been reading through and getting through, and those are things that, you know, obviously we're addressing as we get through all these different updates in the future and everything.
We're building a big backlog. Like, this is the thing, I was making the joke about they started before, like seasons started before we launched, just to try to set expectations. Like, we're moving as fast as we can, but we have to move also safely, because if we move too fast, we can kind of vibrate the game out of stability. And so we're trying to be as reactive as we can, but in a safe way, and knowing we have a large backlog of Season 1 was already well in flight, and Season 2 is also very much well in flight. And so we're trying to make those adjustments. So we hear the feedback, so please don't take the lack of instantaneous response as in we don't hear you. We hear you. We hear about, I want to lock my inventory. We hear you about all the different types of things that you're giving us feedback on, and we appreciate that feedback, and we're doing our best to address it as quickly and as safely as possible. So, so just trying to manage expectations that sometimes it might feel, but again, it's only been 5 weeks. This is a game that we are going to, we're going to support for years to come. This is a foundation of, we said the launch was the beginning, not the end. And so we're going to be continuing to support this game through many seasons and through expansions and what have you. And so please just allow us some time to catch up and work through our backlog to get to those items that we know that you care about.
And I do want to note that we're, as we were in preseason, we were obviously shooting out a lot of updates really quickly, and this is something we talked about a little bit on the campfire chat, but we are going to get into a more systematic way of being able to update the game, so it's not just going to be like ad hoc, hey, guess what, a new client patch type of thing, unless there's an emergency. But yeah, people start to find a more some familiarity with how we actually update the game around seasons and client patches that may occur, whether they are in between or only on seasons and so forth. So we'll have that actually communicated out, and people then know what to expect going forward when we do have different updates or different patches that actually do.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we have now talked about things we did in the preseason. We've made a number of changes on the balance side. We've responded to a lot of player feedback. We've got 1.04 coming out later on this afternoon. But Adam, what do the people want to hear about?
Zombies!
So we're actually now going to talk about, no, I'm just kidding. But we do want to talk about Season 1. Season 1 is coming, and we actually have a really cool trailer to show off before we jump into it. So hit it, Rich and Matt.
I am writing to you because although a great evil is receding from Sanctuary, a new festering curse now spreads its corruption across the land. More dangerous, more malignant than I could have imagined. I have found a way to stop this plague, to rip the dark power of these monsters from their very core and turn it to our advantage in destroying them. But I cannot do this alone. My allies have fallen. My strength is dwindling. The malignant are relentless and without mercy. I need help. I need you.
And there we have it. The first season of Diablo 4 coming out on July 20th. The season of the Malignant. Lots to talk about there. So we're actually going to jump into it. No, I'm just kidding. But obviously, a lot of people want to know what's going on. We even teased it on social media yesterday, where something was corrupting Sanctuary. I guess Tim, Joe,
okay. So
what's going on now?
So Season 1, the season of the Malignant. So our very, very first season in the game is going to basically take place after the events of Diablo 4. So after the redacted and the redacted have happened and the player has finished redacting the redacted, once all that's out of the way, that's when things are really going to kick off in the world of Sanctuary, kind of step off from that point. And there is a new threat that's basically emerged in Sanctuary. There's this malignance, there's this corruption that's begun to spread throughout like the hearts of the creatures throughout the world. And that's everything from like beasts to humans, to demons themselves, everything in between. Can be corrupted by this malignance as beginning to take root and fester inside inside people. And it's basically kind of like it's changing them, right? It's turning them into these bloodthirsty fiends. Effectively, they're going out and trying to destroy everything. And it's threatening Sanctuary at a very, very, very high level. The player's going to come across a new character that they're going to introduce to over the course of the season named Cormund, who we actually saw in the trailer there. Cormund is, there he is. Cormund is an ex-member of the Cathedral of Light. He used to be a priest of the Cathedral of Light. And he's taken it upon himself to start trying to dive deeper into this new malignant threat that's risen over the course of these days following the events of Diablo 4's main campaign. But he's finding himself maybe a little out of his depth. Did you say, Tim? Like, what do you think about Cormund?
Yeah, he's trying to fix the problem on his own, and then I think when he's not 100% successful, he comes to the player and says, "Hey, you were really helpful in the past. Could I get a hand from you?" So that's kind of where things start.
Yeah, he's very. I think that you'll find like he's a person. Everything in the room is on fire, but he's sitting there like, "I can fix it. You know, we can find a way to solve this, right?" But he's a great new character that the player get introduced over the course of the season. But that's really just where things kick off. Now, and players will start the season of Malignant actually in Kyovashad, and they're going to gain access to like the beginning of the story of the season pretty much right away. You know, so you're able to start off right at level 1, like jumping out of the gate and be able to start like following the thread of this new season storyline.
And we're going to talk about the transition from the current Eternal Realm into the season afterwards. We're going to get through the season information first.
Yeah.
Well, then, when I know people are really curious about what happens to my current character, how do I think about that transition? But we'll get to that after we get through the season details. Yeah,
that's absolutely right. So that's the kind of like the high level, like what's happening in the world of Sanctuary.
Theme, right?
That's the theme.
We have a seasonal theme with a seasonal story, but like, what about the mechanic? On top of the theme, there's usually the seasonal mechanics. So what's the mechanics that we're looking at?
We're trying to add more stuff to seasons that appeal to everything that a player does in Diablo 4. So we are adding story, the elements of what you're going to find out about what is actually happening to Sanctuary, but then we want things that are new challenges for the player, things that you can fight that maybe you haven't fought before, as well as new powers, things that you can build your character in a different way, a different direction than maybe you did in any previous season, or in this case in the preseason when you had just the Eternal Realm. So hitting all of those notes, we're starting with a mechanic around the threat. So what is the threat? The Malignant. We've been talking about it a lot. Where does the Malignant actually show up? That actually shows up throughout the entire game. Yep. When you're playing in the world of Sanctuary, anytime you encounter any elite monster, there's a chance that it will spawn as a malignant version of that monster. So that malignant version is going to have these growths on it and some additional power. After you kill it, a heart will actually appear, the exposed malignant heart that was causing this. If you then interact with that heart by using a Cage of Binding, it now starts a ritual where it's pulling all the malignants in and a new, even more powerful version of that elite is spawned.
Yep.
Why would you want this? How does this help you? Well, if you can manage to beat that even more powerful version where you see these other minions are now helping it, these other malignant creatures, now it drops the caged heart. You've actually put all of that malignant power into this cage that is an item that you can use that is kind of like a gem. It's like a gem in the sense that you can socket it into gear. It is very much not like a gem in the sense that it has an enormous amount of power. Think of a legendary item, the kind of power that's in there. It's like that, maybe even a little bit more than that. So you can take these malignant hearts, you can socket them into your jewelry, and that gives you these kind of stupid new broken builds that are hopefully balanced, but they are extremely powerful. So these are new options of how you can play the game.
Yeah, so this is really, really cool, right? So one of the things we really want to do with each season, to Tim's point, is we want to make sure that we're providing new ways for players to engage with Diablo 4, new problems for them to solve, new ways for them to customize their characters and kind of do new cool stuff.
Right.
And that's what Malignant Hearts and the powers associated with Malignant Hearts really allow us to do. So one of these things, so yes, you can take a malignant heart that you've managed to collect from one of the consumed that you managed to kill, one of these super malignant creatures that you've killed this way, and you can socket them into your gear. We have 32 new, I'm not going to say like over 30, we have 32 new malignant powers.
You know exactly how many powers.
Technically, it's 32. So we have 32 new malignant powers are going out this way. These are new legendary power-like abilities. You can see this one here, critical strikes, electrically charged creatures for a set amount of damage. So these are like there's a lot of really powerful things like this that you'll be able to kind of like interact with over the course of time. But each of the malignant hearts you're collecting are actually like a category. They're associated with a color. So if like brutal hearts, for example, or like have a blue color to them, and they'll only go in infested sockets you'll find on rings and jewelry during the season of the malignant of a matching color.
I see.
So when you're hunting for when you're finding new amulets and rings or gambling at the opals vendor, whatever it is you want to do, you're kind of looking for specific socket colors.
Or if you're getting a unique ring from the new Helltide chest rewards as you're playing from the one.
That's right. If you happen to luck out and get Mother's Embrace because you need another Mother's Embrace, then yes, you can absolutely.
One will never do. But what's interesting, so there's 3 different types of color sockets. Yes.
There's 3 different types of colored sockets, but there's 4 different types of malignant hearts.
Yes. Go on.
Well, okay, I guess I will. So the last malignant heart type is called basically a wrathful. It's an extremely powerful malignant heart type. They're very, very rare to find. They will fit in any colored socket as you go. And you kind of want a combination of all of these. So even though that the Wrathfuls are pretty strong, you're really only looking to probably have like 1 or 2 of these based on what you might actually need for your build, over the course of time. So it's fun, really want to be able to experiment with, again, creating these different problems for players to solve, different ways for players to engage with things, and really change up that experience by virtue of adding these new powers. They can unlock different builds potentially for classes, to Tim's point, and just basically be like a really fun, exciting new way for players to kind of inject new power into the experience.
But you're looking for so can the jeweler, when the jeweler right now can add a socket to, a piece of jewelry? Are they able to add colored sockets, or are those only
so you can't
found?
choose the color, but anytime a ring would roll with a socket when the season of malignant starts, it's always going to have a color associated with it. There's not you couldn't get just a regular jewel socket.
But even a jeweler created one? Like if I have a ring with no socket, when I do the jeweler, it'll be colored?
It'll always be colored. Yeah,
so
it'll always be an
do
infested socket in this way.
Got it.
Yeah.
But that's true for unique. So if I'm looking for I have a unique ring, like you talked about, but I want the blue version. Mm-hmm. I could find a unique with the red socket, and I could find it with a yellow socket. So I'm looking for a blue. So there'll be multiple versions of the uniques as well, right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Yeah.
So fun new stuff to look forward to, and that's just, we showed in the video earlier, the player fighting a malignant creature. There's a chance for, as Tim pointed out, there's a chance for all kinds of elites out there in the world to be malignant in nature, which makes them a little bit more powerful. But then when you kill them and you go and you actually use the Cage of Binding to capture their heart, then you fight that super consumed, the consumed version. It's that's gonna be buffing nearby monsters. It spawns a bigger combat in that scene. There's more to look forward to, and those get tougher and tougher. And you want to fight higher and higher level versions of those and higher world tiers to get even better versions of those hearts.
Yeah, so you can get stronger versions of the hearts as you get further into the game, and you might be thinking okay, does that mean the old, the crappy hearts that I got earlier, are those useless? You can actually break those down at the crafter as well to get a crafting material out of them that allows you to craft new items, including invokers. So invokers are something that you can use a little bit further on. Once you finish the campaign of Season 1, you will unlock the ability to go and use these at a specific place called a malignant tunnel. So if you are trying to...
That's also the name of my colonoscopy.
Okay.
There we go. And
it's a serious thing when you're over 50. You should know that.
That's
a good point. So if you have a malignant tunnel, you should get yourself checked out.
So in the world of Sanctuary, when we say malignant tunnel, we mean, hey, I'm a player and I actually want to get more of these hearts, but it's just a random chance on elites out in the world. Where can I intentionally find more of them? There are these malignant tunnels. So there are actually places across the world where the malignance is manifesting in these new dungeons. So if you specifically want to go find more malignant hearts, you can hunt down these tunnels. You can go in and, hey, there are more malignant there. So there's a higher chance of finding malignant monsters there. And if you want to guarantee it, man, I really need a very specific type of malignant heart. How do I make that even more likely? That's when you take your crafted invoker, you go all the way to the end of a malignant tunnel, and you can use it on a malignant outgrowth. When you use it on that outgrowth, it now spawns that specific type of malignant It's going to have the color associated with it of the heart you're trying to find. You kill that, and you're going to get the specific heart. So there's a little bit more targeted farming you can do as you approach the end game of season 1.
Actually, I have like, if you go to the C video, it will be able to show you going into an evoker event where you can go in and sort of, which I've heard called the turkey baster from hell, basically, is what an evoker looks like.
It does kind of, yes. I don't, that wasn't the art direction on it, but yeah, that's where we ended up.
So yeah, at the end of these malignant tunnels, you're going to find that there are these masses of malignants that you're going to be able to go and interact with, and each of the tunnels has a few different ones that can potentially spawn different colors of malignant outgrowths that can spawn from those. So it gives you those opportunities to go and like really target farm, as Tim's pointed out, like certain kinds of malignant hearts as the player's progressing through the experience. Yeah.
So when we show, like we were just showing it,
Technical
show the one you were just showing, because that was the Invoker event. So basically there's a growth, it gets to the end of the tunnel, you're able to basically, essentially you're requesting a monster of a particular color, yes? You're saying like, I want a blue heart, a chance to get a blue heart by trying to defeat the blue monster, yes?
That's right, and some of these are like, particularly later on in the experience, like the most powerful hearts you can get are going to be delivered from things like these Invoker encounters that we're going to go and interact with. So yeah, something we're very excited about.
So basically, they use an Invoker on the one of the pods.
That's right. Yeah, the outgrowths from this malignant mass,
which then creates a blue monster for you to go fight. You have to take that down, which will then. So does this one go through the same mechanic where I have to kill it, try to capture heart to kill the harder thing?
Yeah, when this thing pops up, after you kill this one, you don't actually have to capture it. You're fighting the powerful version of it like immediately.
That's what I was asking. Yeah, so you don't have to do the 1-2.
That's right.
So that's nice. So it's kind of a little like the sigil crafting, where you basically, I've got a bunch of stuff I'm not using right now. I can craft it down so that I can focus what malignant hearts I want, because maybe my build, I know I want a brutal heart, but I haven't running into any blue malignants out there in the world. So now I can go into a malignant tunnel, fight my way to the end, have an opportunity to use the Invoker to create a blue malignant to go after its heart, yeah?
That's right. That's right, yeah. Roger's called it out.
And I know.
That's all I'm here to do is summarize.
That's good.
He's like, I will take everything you said, summarize it into 2 sentences. And I know, like, obviously with the story and so forth, there are like new, like a new boss and so forth associated with it.
We're not really talking about the boss
redacted, but yes.
It's worth calling out,
There's new boss monster for players to fight over the course of the season. There are new legendary items for players to collect this season.
Correct.
There's our legendary powers, I should say, for players to collect. There's new unique items for players to collect.
Now those new unique legendaries and the unique uniques. Thanks for that. Those are not just in the seasonal realm, though, right? Are those things that are also showing up in the eternal?
That's right. Those will also show up in the eternal realm. So
exactly.
Yeah, if you're a player who's like really trying to continue to progress your character in the eternal realm, there's now a few new items for you to go try to hunt for and use to kind of augment and change your build.
This is the moment where I can do the producer thing.
So
you probably saw before on the screen when we looked at the cinematic, it was awesome. And we said July 20th. Oh my God, there it is. The day it's coming out. We are actually putting out the patch a little bit earlier. So just for awareness, so everyone knows, you're going to see your game patching on July 18th. That is all of the stuff coming to you that is going to turn on July 20th.
Balance changes, the new items.
So July 18th is actually anything that shows up on the Eternal Realm is there right away. If you just want to continue playing the game as normal on your existing characters, or a new Eternal character if you want, July 18th, the new legendaries and uniques that they were just talking about will be available to you on the Eternal Realm, as well as any other improvements, balance changes, rewards changes that we've made. Those will be there right away on July 18th. July 20th, the season turns on. You can now create seasonal characters.
The thing is, like going back to managing expectations, I think one of the things we've been trying to be really clear about with seasons is that it is not a continuation of the main campaign storyline. Like we've been trying to use phrases like it's a new quest line. Working with Corman to solve the malignant is a big, is obviously the journey you're on, but it's not about the Anarius Lilith journey. It's not extending that story. It's sort of a side story inside the open world.
It just takes place after the events of Diablo 4. But you're absolutely right. This is a new self-contained story within the season of the Malignant, which is great because it just gives us it affords us a lot of opportunities to tell an exciting story and to create like these new big features that kind of go along with that and support it.
So as I'm playing through that now, it would be amazing if there was some way to sort of track my accomplishments through the season. I don't know, maybe some sort of journey, perhaps,
so
would be really...
you want to track your seasonal journey through some kind of feature.
I don't know if I could tee that up any higher for you. We went from golf to
golf to t-ball really fast. No, absolutely. So this is obviously with season 1, where we're going to bring out the season journey feature, which I know we've talked a little bit about on stream before, but I guess it's worth maybe calling out and maybe a little bit more clarity.
Hey, look, it's this, but without redacted all over it now.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is
no top secret.
Yeah. So this is the battle pass introducing as part of season 1, and then going into here you'll see the season journey, and again, so the season journey is separated into 7 chapters. And like these major chapters, and each of those chapters has a number of objectives inside each of them in order to allow you to progress that chapter.
And you don't have to do all of them?
You don't have to do all of them. You have to do a subset of them in order to advance to the next chapter. So I think it's really cool. So like objective to objective, you're going to be earning favor drops, which can be used to fuel your battle pass, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute. Yeah. But you're also, for your chapter completion moments, you're getting big drops of that favor that's going to be used like an experience point value for your battle pass. But you're also going to be getting some like item rewards, and importantly, you're going to be unlocking new legendary aspects, ones that you can't normally get through the Codex of Power, through like dungeon completion, and also many of our new legendary aspects we're adding in the season. If you're playing in the seasonal realm, you can collect that for your Codex of Power by going to the season journey. So it's a great way for you to introduce yourself to some of these new things as you're kind of playing through.
Yeah, I love this. Like, one of the things that's hard about, for people who know Diablo 3 and its sort of journey.
Hold on, wait. Do you love this?
I love this.
Oh, that actually feels really good to hear.
I love this. The notion around, like, I like the fact that the subset aspect of it, because I know there are certain things. I'll pick a stupid example. It's like, maybe I hate sellers for some reason. I'm a seller hater. And so I never want to complete a seller. Then the fact that I can advance chapter 1 to go to chapter 2 without ever doing what lurks below, I think that's great, because that's like, I find you get into situations. I have other games where they're like, you must do this thing that you really don't want to do in order to progress. And the fact that I don't have to do that here, that I can choose a subset of things to continue my progress, I think is really smart.
Yeah, I think it's really good to hear. It's one of the things we really want to do is make sure that like the base example of this is like, we really like letting players use our fields of hatred as opportunities to kind of like progress their characters inside of the season, but we don't, and we want to include that
which is
in the season journey, which is the PvP content in the game. But we don't want to make that like a requirement that you must go do this content in order to progress your season journey. We want to give players the option to do this if they choose.
One thing I do want to call out here as well with the season journey, and I think you're going to call it out in some other places, is that it can be confusing to players initially that you go to this battle pass screen, you click on the season journey button. Do I have to buy the battle pass to get this? No. Everyone has access to the season journey. This is a base feature that everybody is engaging with. Actually, everybody has access to the battle pass too. You're engaging with, even if you never pay a cent, you are engaging with the battle pass. You're getting free stuff.
In the seasonal realm.
In the seasonal realm. Yes. Ron has always reminded me to say that. In the seasonal realm, this stuff exists. There is no season journey if you're not in the season. That's very important. It only exists there. There is no battle pass if you're not in the season.
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So yeah, that's essentially the way the season journey works. Those final objectives, those final chapters are really, really tough to complete. You can get some like special like cosmetics, like special like title and things at towards the end of that path. So we're excited to see players like engage with it and for us to continue to support it in future seasons.
And so we saw that the season journey grants you a lot of favor to go towards your battle pass, but you also earn favor just out in the world killing stuff.
That's right. Anything that's like killing monsters, completing like whispers and dungeons and things, like all of these things will be earning you favor as you kind of play through the season.
Right.
So anything that's getting you experience points is a chance to give you that favor as well.
So if you have never played the campaign yet, like you're about to buy the game for the first time with the season, for example,
right?
I'll be like, okay, I'm going to roll a seasonal character. I'm going to play the campaign. The fact that while I'm playing the campaign, I'm killing stuff, and I'm still earning favor. Like, this stuff is still sort of progressing in the background, right?
That's absolutely correct.
I just won't run into any malignant until I finish the campaign.
That's absolutely right. But you will, as you play, if you make a new character, to your point, Rod, on the seasonal realm, and you're playing through the campaign, you will be earning favor as you're killing monsters and doing things during the campaign. But a lot of those, and you can also progress your season journey, but some of those objectives might require you to go and interact with season features that aren't available until after you finish the events of the Diablo 4 main campaign. And
that's probably one of the big things to be clear about. I know we're going to talk about the transition later, but in terms of getting access to the mechanic, the idea of talking to Corman, capturing malignant hearts, having rings with colored socket or jewelry with colored sockets, that stuff all takes place post-campaign.
That's correct.
And so if you haven't beat the campaign yet, you're not going to run into these seasonal mechanics. Right?
Yeah, you won't fight malignant creatures, for example, while you're going through the campaign on the seasonal realm, but you will shortly thereafter. So one of the things you can do, and I know we're going to talk about this, and we keep saying we're going to talk about this, and then we talk about it anyway. But like, so I would say, like, one of the things you can do to get ready for the season is to make sure you finish your campaign playthrough. Diablo 4, jump in. You can choose to skip campaign when you make your new seasonal character, and dive right into the seasonal story and content immediately.
And that's forevermore. That's one thing we tried to say is that once you complete the campaign on one character on your account,
one character, one
for every
time.
season moving forward, for any character you create moving forward, you can skip campaign and start off in Kyovashad level 1 off. Well, and
not always Kyovashad, but yes.
Is that the
foreshadowing
only thing that we can be doing to prepare
well,
for
we should
season
get to
one?
Let's get to the
we should get to the battle pass. So the favor, so you have favor flowing because you're playing the game.
You're playing the game because you're doing your season journey objectives. You're getting even
and
more.
I was going to say you're getting more, and the favor is really flowing because I'm completing the season journey objectives, and so that favor is feeding into your progress on the battle pass. Whether you've chosen to just have the free battle pass or whether you've chosen to upgrade it to a premium battle pass, correct?
That's absolutely correct.
So can we go back to the screen because I think it's one of the things. What we highlight here is part of the thing is kind of we use the term. Why would I want to complete the battle pass? One of the reasons you would want to complete the battle pass is you could look like this.
Yeah.
And by completing the battle pass in terms of the mount armor, the armor that the characters are wearing, and so. Did you want to talk a little bit about kind of the stuff?
So one of the things that's really cool about a lot of the items in the battle pass, there are these really exciting like armors to chase for the characters. There are like fun new emotes to go chase for different classes, and we have even things like the like what we're showing off here, like the artisan's tunic. We have some things that are like these. And this is actually one of our free cosmetics. Actually, is this the things are like a little bit lower fantasy that we can use to kind of like role play different kind of themes out for your characters, just give you more options. And we have like our bigger stuff like this. Like this is like the Awoken Cold Iron stuff is like some of like the real chase armor cosmetics that exist at the end of the battle pass.
It's one of the things that if you notice either the role-playing armor like the artisan tunic or the helmet is that one of the big things about the battle pass is that unlike the shop, the battle pass, all of the cosmetics are class agnostic. So we have a preview for all 5 classes so you can see what it looks like on a barbarian, what it looks like on a druid, what it looks like on a necromancer, and those sorts of things. And that's one of the nice things about the battle pass is everything you're earning on the battle pass, class agnostic.
Yeah, for those transmogs.
The exception is the transmog weapons. There are transmog weapons on there that are class specific just because classes can only use specific. Yeah. So if your class can equip that weapon, then you have access to it. Just to reinforce, I think it was already expressed, but there are lots of free things on the battle pass. If you pay to upgrade it to the premium battle pass, what you're gaining access to are a bunch of additional cosmetic things.
Yeah.
So the only thing you're getting access to by paying is that additional cosmetic unlock. So there's really, really cool stuff, some on the early end and then especially on the tail end of it, that's what you're buying into. But the free version,
keep going. I'm getting ready to transition.
Okay. The free version
I know where I want to go after you.
Still has some very cool unlocks and anything related to, well, you wanted to talk more about blessings, right?
Well, that's what they're saying with the free side. Like, so we were saying there's 27 free tiers in the battle pass, and part of those 27 free tiers are smoldering ashes that you can get based on the level you are in the game and that you've progressed with favor. And what do those smoldering ashes get you?
So these smoldering ashes the player will collect in the battle pass are, as you called out, like they're on the free track of the battle pass. You have a character of a certain level in order to be able to actually use them. So they're kind of like they're rate limited that way. We'll take those and you'll be able to use those and apply them to the seasonal blessings system. Right. And here, we can actually finally reveal all of these. So here are the places where, as the player is collecting these ashes, they can invest them here to give all of their characters on the seasonal realm kind of like this advantage able to carry through. So whether that is like bonus to like XP earned for monster kills, like we call out here, or things like boosting the duration of all elixirs that you're using over the course of the season.
Right, and you can looks like. I'm assuming that, I don't know if it's linear or not, but if I would assume it was linear, I can do it 4 times at 15%, so like 60% duration on elixirs, in terms of that particular, the earn or prolonging.
That's right, yeah. We want to make this just be an extra little fun little thing for players to chase as they're going through the season to kind of, help them like boost their characters up a little bit more quickly as they kind of get deeper and deeper into progression to the season and give them a few different advantages to play with while they're playing through.
So if I were to max out with my Smoldering Ashes, they're like Earner prolonging is where I want to invest my smoldering ashes. I can basically take my 30-minute elixir and make it almost a 50-minute elixir. So getting that 5% XP boost. Maybe for me, it's the extra 200 thorns and the 200 armor. Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah, and give you boosts to like get more opportunities to earn like the or better million heart drops that can occur for you as you're playing.
And these are available to everyone because who's in the seasonal realm because it's part of the free track.
Yes.
And they are limited based on. They're also limited based on level of the player, so that even if someone were to use tier skips, even though they might get to the tier that says free smoldering ashes, it doesn't actually unlock until you get to the level requirement.
Yeah, for like for example, like the first ash that you unlock in the battle pass is I think it's tier 8 maybe.
Tier 8.
Yeah, and it has a level 40 character requirement as an example. Just to make it really, really clear, like you will be able to use this in time, but immediately like you need to continue to progress your character and like continue to level up, and then you'll be able to use that accordingly.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I kind of do my little summary thing. So basically, what we said, so we have a seasonal theme of the Malignant, which has the mechanic of capturing Malignant hearts and putting it into jewelry. We use that to complete our season's journey. Our season journey is rewarding us favor. Our favor, we're then putting into the battle pass to get really cool cosmetics and transmogs, but also based on our level and our tier in the battle pass, we'll get smoldering ashes. We can use those smoldering ashes to apply a season's blessing, which allows us to use those urns and get sort of perks for during just this season that we've unlocked.
That's correct.
So the free person's experience, if you never want to pay a cent, you are still getting a lot of power out of the season journey and the free aspect, the free unlocks on the battle pass. So this is kind of an increase in power for everybody. And then if you want to spend money, just reinforcing that, that's unlocking more cosmetics. And don't get me wrong, like they're amazing cosmetics. I am planning to pay to unlock them myself. But there's no power that comes from them. They are transmogs. They are not actual items. It's just a transmog you can place on your armor to look cool. They don't actually cause things to light on fire.
Yeah, it's just reinforcing what we had talked about before, like even before launch and so forth, is that the battle pass itself, anything that if you do pay for a battle pass, all the paid items are going to be cosmetics and for you, it's no pay for power.
And if you bought the deluxe or the ultimate edition, you already will have an ability to make that a premium battle pass. It still doesn't. So that's great for them. So then let's talk a little bit about the transitional side of it in terms of how I go into this or what happens. So there's a couple of different things. There's like, one is like there's a need. So there's a question. I guess we should talk about renown. Like one of the big things that we hear the most about is, hey, I spent a lot of time, and I know I did too. I completed all my renown objectives. I've got full everything. And now I hear, I have to re-roll my character in season. Do I have to go find all the altars of Lilith? Do I have to go all clear the fog of war again?
Yeah, so I know we've talked about this in stream before, but it definitely bears repeating. So like when season 1 goes live, players are going to be able to go basically carry over like all of the fog of war that they've cleared. So everything, all the world they've explored on their characters in each of the zones, like in the Fractured Peaks and Scotsland and such, all of that's going to carry over, as well as all of the renown that you have earned from all of that, all of the exploration.
So can we bring up the screen? So basically where we see areas discovered.
Yeah.
Let's say I've actually, we'll say this is this person.
Yeah.
So right now they've got 30 areas discovered, which is worth 150 renown.
Right.
So what's going to happen is in the season, I'm going to have 30 areas clear inside of Kyrgyzstan, and I will have 150 renown already in the bank. And it will have unlocked whatever 150 renown will have unlocked.
Absolutely right. Yep, absolutely right. So you're going to have that, and you're also going to have already collected all of your altars of Lilith that you've got from your
So the same thing here. So I will have 12 will be appearing on my map immediately, and I will have 120 renown in the bank with my other 100. So I'll have 270 renown already earned, waiting for me to claim when I fire up the season.
That's absolutely correct. So these are the advantages you get to start with, and like if you look at like all of the renown you can collect from discovering all of the areas and from getting all of your altars of Lilith, it's going to get you in each of the zones, basically through the first 2 tiers, a little with a way through the 3rd tier for each of the zones for renown. So you get to start with, like if you start at level 1 on day 1 of the new season with a brand new character, you'll start, and you've done all of this work with your previous characters and previous playthroughs. You'll have 5 skill points to play with, and then 5 extra potion charges. So you'll be at sitting at 9 potion charges.
At level 1, you'll have 5 skill points and 9 potions ready to go.
Absolutely. You just claim those things down. You're good to go for the season.
And your map reveal.
And your map reveal. So that goes back to what Tim was teeing up earlier. When we think about, hey, I'm excited about the season, I want to prepare for it. I've got, what is it? This is the 6th today?
Today's the 6th.
Okay,
Yes.
so I
you
have 14 days.
14
I have
days.
2 weeks. What should I be doing in these next 2 weeks? And so one was I better get the campaign done because I really want to
complete the campaign.
fight the malignant. But now, like, if you had places to go to, like, dig deep on clearing the fog and dig deep on finding the altars, because those are going to carry into this season.
Yeah, all that stuff will carry over with you.
Okay, so then, Tim, how do I think about? I've got 5, 6 alts, you know, my characters right now in the Eternal Realm. We're talking about carrying over progress based on your. How do I ensure that the progress, like the most progress character, it actually impacts my seasonal character? Like,
Yeah, Tim, tell us.
Yeah, it's a great question. For various technical implementation reasons, we do actually need you to log in on existing characters to kind of self-migrate some of your data with this. So this is something that we implemented based on player feedback that we got. So we put it in as quickly as we could. It is in for Season 1, but what we need you to do, once Season 1 comes out, actually once the patch comes out, you don't even have to wait until July 20th. You can do this on July 18th, which is when the patch goes live. You should log in with characters that have the most progress. If you have a single character you played, or if you have one character that, hey, on this one character I unlocked all the altars and cleared all the fog of war, awesome. You just have to log in with that person. When you log in with that character, all of that progress is going to be propagated across your entire account. It'll be saved as, hey, this is just unlocked for your whole account now. At that point, any character you log on, either one of your existing alts or any new character you make in seasons will now have all of that progress. So you have to do it once, but after you've done that, it is now saved to your account. And just to reinforce, the experience you're going to have if you have unlocked all of these things, it takes a little bit of work, but if you've unlocked all of that, when you start that new seasonal character, wow, is that a lot of power. You are going to level pretty fast, because extra 5 skill points, extra 5 potions, you are ridiculously overpowered when you first start playing. Like, that is a lot of extra power.
It will accelerate you a little bit as you start.
And because that is a big caveat, like we will be reminding everyone. I'm going to be like literally screaming it from the rooftops. I know we will be posting it in our patch notes on that come out for the patch on the 18th, just to remind people that yes, log into your characters beforehand. Even if you log in, like if you jump into the season later on, you can log into those characters with the most amount of progress.
Well, that's the two things we should, because there'll probably be questions. But one is, I don't do that for whatever. I go on vacation. I'm not playing. I come back. The season's started. I can still log in my Eternal Realm character and have all that progress brought to the season. Yes.
Yes.
Even after the season started. So it's not like, oh, you only have 18 to 20 to get it those 2 days.
It's there forever. Functionally, from this point forward, anytime you ever log in on a character, it will just check like, hey, does this character have any progress that's not already credited on your account? Cool, I'm now crediting it to your account.
Right. And so and that's for the seasonal. So if I think about the Eternal Realm, like for example, my Necromancer has everything. I've got the full bar on renown on all 5. Not humble bragging. That's a point of fact.
Humble bragging.
Yeah,
not humble bragging.
Absolutely.
So for the next 5 minutes, we're going to talk about
So
this.
let's talk about how good my Necromancer is. No, but all I'm saying is I have a Sork that has not had the same level of progress in the world. So after the 18th, when I log in my Necro, and all that progress gets put to my account. When I go to log in my Sork next, even on the Eternal Realm, my Sork will now have all the progress that my Necro
Correct.
has.
Absolutely.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And let's say, like, just to dive really deep into this. So let's say that you've got,
I know,
you've got 2 different
we
characters.
should do some sort of
You've
dev
got-
stream where we can talk and go deep.
That's true, actually, yeah. So let's say you've got like 2 characters you play. Like one has done everything in the Fractured Peaks, has uncovered everything in the Fractured Peaks, and has uncovered like all the altars with both. You get another character
Right.
who's gotten everything in Scott's Glen, who's unlocked like all the fog of war, has found all the altars Lilith. If I log in on my Fractured Peaks character, and just by doing that, all of that credit will now be transferred to my Scott's Glen character. When I log into my Scott's Glen character, all of that credit will be applied to my Fractured Peaks characters. At that point, all of the credit of the progress I made on either of those characters has been propagated to the entirety of my account.
Right. So it becomes an and.
It's not just like it's and. It's not like the one account that has the most stuff, and then I want to log into that one. No, you want to log into every account that might have like tons of progress that they've made in different directions. Right.
And I think to just again, hey, let's talk about managing expectations. Some of you might be saying like, wow, that sounds a little clunky. And I think the point that Tim was trying to make was, hey, prior to season 1, we had actually talked about that you wouldn't have any renown progress carryover. You would have to go find the altars of Lilith. You would have to go clear the fog of war. Like the original plan when launching the game, or prior to launching the game, the original plan that there was no transition of state from the Eternal Realm to Seasonal Realm as part of this. And so hearing the player feedback as we talked about seasons and hearing the response that we got about, what, I have to find all the altars again? What, I have to clear the map again? And wanting to make sure that we were listening to the players, we put in a system that allowed us to do that, but is not the most smoothest, most sophisticated, because we were doing it under very tight time constraints as quickly as possible.
Hey, did you want it done? Did you want it done? The answer is yes.
I'm just saying, like, that wasn't the design from the start was not to do this, log in a character on the 18th and make it pass.
Yeah,
that's what we had to do to make it happen for season 1.
And this was based off of, obviously player feedback that we've gotten since launch. So this is us implementing it quickly to address, the feedback that you guys have been giving. And then on top of that, I like a huge shout out to our engineers for getting this all implemented before we actually jump into the season.
Much like the Nightmare Dungeon teleport,
Exactly.
like miracles can happen and very quickly. So
a lot of these actually end up with us going to an engineer and asking how long it would take to do it, and the first answer is to do it right.
First answer is they cry.
And then there's like, okay, well, what about to make it work right now? And always, if you told me you wanted to do this X months ago, I could have done it way easier because we implemented it completely differently. So yeah, we make it work, but sometimes the fact that you have to log in to get the progress propagated, we would have made it a smoother version if we knew months ago.
All right, look, all right, like zoom in on me. Zoom in on me.
Come closer.
Let's do that. Okay, it's not going to happen. There it is. Okay, yeah, all right. It's a live game. We know we need to it's a live game. We know we are looking at trying to make improvements based on the feedback that we're getting from players. We're playing the game ourselves, and we're kind of seeing how everything is really feeling as it's all coming together with a giant audience of players playing and enjoying the game. We want to make sure that we are making the right changes as quickly as we can for the community. Some of those things are a lot harder than others. But like all the feedback, like Adam, you called out some things really early on at the program, like, we're hearing feedback about, this and this, and like, inventory space. We talked about gems last time and things we want to do there. We're trying to move very quickly in a lot of these things. Some of them are a lot more challenging technically to do than others, but we are rapidly moving on as many changes as we can because we are fervently trying to make the very best version of Diablo 4 possible in the fastest time frame that we can to deliver to the player base, because we're players too. We also want the same things. So just know that we're working hard. We care deeply. We love our engineers and our designers and our producers and the staff's been helping with like all of like the hotfix and everything else. We are trying to make sure that we are delivering a really, really high quality experience to players on a regular basis. So just stick with us. Keep giving us that feedback. We're going to keep making adjustments as we go between seasons and other updates.
I can attest that whenever Joe would like to make a change based on feedback he's seen from reading it wherever he reads it, the first version is always, can we do this immediately? That is always the first request. Never like, hey, let's get this in eventually when it makes sense and when it's comfortable. No, it's always, could we do this right now? Is it possible for us to do this right now?
Well,
so
I want to move the Overton window where I
Yeah.
just expect everything to be done in 6 seconds.
But this is the thing about about doing it safely. Like, I think one of the sort of the junior mistakes some people can make is this idea of like time is only what it takes to implement, and it's not. It's time is also what it takes to test and make sure that it's robust and stable. And so that's one of the things that, like, when you look at we have a follow the sun QA organization around the world, and that's what allows us to do, I don't know, we're up to 15, 16 hot fixes or more now.
Yeah.
And our big client patches is that ability to not only can we get we have some heroic engineers who can turn stuff around very quickly, but we also have some heroic QA teams around the world who are helping us make sure that when we make these changes, we're doing it in a safe way. So, but appreciate your patience on that. And so this is exciting. Season 1, Season of the Malignant.
Yes.
Yeah, it's finally here.
Yes.
I'm waiting to reveal this for a long
2 weeks.
time.
In 2 weeks, and again, like Tim
It's
had
not
mentioned,
technically here for you all, but soon, very soon.
as Tim had mentioned, we will have a patch on the 18th for Diablo 4 that will contain all the changes that will be coming in with Season 1.
Yep.
If Tiffany Watt were here, who was on our campfire chat before,
Yep.
she categorized our 103 patch as chonky.
Right.
I will categorize in Tiffany Watt's words
The technical
as
term, yeah.
super chonky for Season 1. It actually is our largest, or chonkster, as Tim called it. I think we were chonkers. So we're going to pull up the Wikipedia entry and actually go through it, the history of chonkers. But yeah, it is very big. So we will have notes up for that. And again, players can prepare for Season 1 by completing the campaign for sure.
Do the campaign,
and making
clear the
sure,
fog of war.
clear fog of war, discover the map, and of course, get all your altars. So lots to to come for Diablo 4. And then again, we also have just more improvements that will be in that patch. What class our balance changes to bug fixes to you name it. I can go on. There's even some reward changes coming for some Nightmare and Helltide related activities as well, some endgame activities, because I've been hearing some feedback regarding like, hey, it would be great if we can get like maybe better rewards with some of these activities, and so I know some of those changes are coming in that actual update as well. But I know we want to do Q&A.
We do.
Yeah.
And this is a live stream, by the way.
Yeah.
So I know we get sometimes people are like, I don't know if this is live. No, this is totally live. So we're actually going to be bringing in, we're actually going to kick off Rod because we're done with him. No, I'm just kidding. Rod is actually just
going to go and annoy you from the side.
I know. It's the worst. Rod's going to jump over here. We're actually going to bring back in Chris and Ryan from the Immortal team. Who will be jumping in here.
I think you're supposed to open that chair. I didn't do my job.
Rod did.
I didn't do my job.
Rod had one job and failed to do it.
I failed to open the chair.
So we're going to bring these guys in. I know we have questions queued up from different people in Twitch chat. So if you guys have questions, of course, feel free to drop in questions and
Chris is
everything.
not quite in. You need to switch clear.
Oh, I need to scooch too
Scooch a
because I
little
think
bit
I'm
Yeah, I think
like,
we can scooch a little bit more.
Live television.
we're scooching live.
And we're scooching, live scooching, ladies and
So
gentlemen.
here's the problem. We also the
all
production
kinds of
team hates me.
cables beneath us.
I want to give a shout out to our production group behind here because I literally go like, oh, we're only gonna have like 2 people, and then we continue to add people, and then Rod wanted to be in it yesterday. So now suddenly we're up to like 20 people, and this room can't hold this many people. So I apologize. They are angels, and they deal with me. But we do have some questions, and I will be kind of going back and forth in between both of them. But we do. Oh, perfect. We do have some questions up here. Someone's also calling me, which is awful at this time. Quick question. Any updates around, this is for D4 specifically, any updates around respecting characters?
Yeah, so right now I think that there's a few different concerns we're hearing from the community. There's the general cost of respecting characters, and then there is at various stages of the game, and then there is the actual experience of respecting a character, particularly when you're deeper into the Paragon system. Like that takes a lot of effort. So we have longer-term plans on the user experience side, like on the menu side. Things we want to do to improve the flow of allowing players to respect their characters. These are things we're actively investigating. We have designs for things we're looking to add into seasons in the future, but we don't have a date that we're committing to today for that. And in terms of the actual price of that, we're evaluating things on like the gold economy, and we're taking a look at like what players are doing on a regular basis. We're not making any fundamental structural changes to today at this time, but we're satisfied with where things feel like in the 150. One thing we will be adding, though, is as part of seasons, there's now a new reward that you can collect as you're going through the season journey at the end of each season, called the Scroll of Amnesia, which once you collect a Scroll of Amnesia, you can use that one time to basically reset the entirety of a character all in one go for no gold cost at all. So these are going to be like pretty fun things to bring back with you to the Eternal Realm if you want to use for future playthroughs or for that character or another character. So we want to make sure that we're like slowly adding a few of these as the players progressing through the experience. Kind of make that a little bit easier for players to go through.
And that Scroll of Amnesia is everything. It's all your skills, all your Paragon, everything goes to 0.
Yeah.
Awesome. For Immortal, we have a question from, I'm reading everyone's names, 8 Miles West. How much will the Blood Knight cost? I know we covered this early on, but if you guys want to reiterate.
The Blood Knight will cost nothing. The Blood Knight is free.
It's free. So if you're a new Immortal player, or you're a existing Immortal player, you can literally jump in, start playing the Blood Knight on day 1, which is on July 13th. So, and of course, you can play through the campaign, and we had mentioned that it has essentially custom VO and everything associated with it.
That's right.
For D4, I should be more prepared with these.
That's usually
That's usually
a safe statement all the time. Is you should be more
we
prepared.
have Rod judging me off screen right here, and I'm just like, it's awesome.
Perfect.
Little side story real quick. So we have a thing in design called design armor, where like as you're about to like talk about an idea with someone, you're like, this might be a really bad idea, but and that's you putting up your shield saying, this is my design armor. Saying, I know that this might be really, really bad, but we're talking about it anyway. So yes, I should probably be more prepared, but here we go. That's your design armor.
Question from Fig Larna.
You committed to saying the names.
I know I did.
We don't want anyone to suggest that these are not good questions.
Yeah, from Fig Larna. Will seasonal mechanics be added to the Eternal Realm after the season ends? I think that's something we didn't actually clarify fairly well.
That is a great question that actually gets asked internally as well a lot. Like, hey, this is awesome. Are we going to keep it around forever? Initially, no. Like, initially, the version of the malignant mechanics that you're seeing are not planned to show up in the Eternal Realm. However, we are reserving the right as developers that if we see something cool and we think, wow, this is just fantastic, this should just be part of the game, that we will just make it part of the game. So it is absolutely an option. Some mechanics you might see in future seasons might be that way right away. We might be planning that, hey, this will show up in Eternal Realm right away. Others will evaluate them as we play them and then see if this is working really well. This is something that we want to integrate with the Eternal version of the game.
Yeah, I want to stay on this just 1 second longer. That's not to suggest that we're not going to be, as part of the seasons, intentionally using those update opportunities to create content for the base game, like stuff that will persist beyond the end of the season. But we really do want to hone in on the idea that we're like, Malignant Hearts are very powerful, as we talked about before. They're really, really cool. They're very exciting. We can't add something exciting like that every season if it's expected to all last, because the game's going to be a complete mess.
Right.
So we're not going to do that. What we would end up needing to do is all of those things would be extremely incremental in terms of what they offered to the players over the course of time. And it would make the game extraordinarily dense in terms of what the players expected to do on a regular basis.
And to understand.
We know that there's opportunities to extend things like add more endgame features. We know that there's more content that we want to add to the game in general that like everybody's going to need forever, and we're going to be looking at those opportunities as we go. But things like Malignant Hearts, we don't want to have something of that size in Season 1, then add something of similar size in Season 2, and then Season 3 and Season 4, because the game's going to get extremely dense and difficult for players to really navigate. We want to be able to like take these things away, introduce new ideas, but having known what worked really, really well with Malignant Hearts and what stuff we could maybe have improved upon, we get to take all those ideas forward.
It's also part of the cool factor of the season is that when you're going in, these Malignant Hearts, it's there for the season. So even, let's take a player that, let's say, doesn't like to play alts except of the same class. I just love playing Barbarian, and I have 3 different Barbarians already on Eternal because it's the perfect
rogue
class.
Player, and all you play is rogues, and all you do is build rogues.
There might be a lot of those too. But let's say a Barbarian, that's my hypothetical, I'm sticking with it. So I'm a Barbarian lover and I've made all these Barbarians. Season 1 is still an exciting time to make a new Barbarian because we have all of these new Malignant powers that allow you to make radically new builds that are completely different from Barbarians you played in the past. Your endgame is going to be very different. So that excitement goes away if we just say like, oh, all of these powers just exist in the game forever. The whole idea is that no, every season is a fresh new experience that gives you builds that did not exist previously. So the idea is some of that stuff is always designed to go away.
Yeah.
So Joe, I mean, one of the things.
This is Rod off camera speaking.
Rod off camera. Hey,
yeah.
voice
Right.
Joe,
Yes.
maybe speak to the fact that everybody starts at the same place of the season is one of the benefits, so that people aren't like a year behind when they go to play season 4.
Yeah, that's an important part of this as well. One of the reasons we really like the idea of letting players start back fresh and have like an economy reset, players really jumping back in the experience at level 1 with characters, is it allows us to focus on making sure the entirety of that journey is really engaging and exciting for players to go through. And we want to make sure, like by the end of the first session, for example, like you're getting exposed to like the new features and content available that we're introducing in that season. That everything feels like it's balanced in such a way that players can really enjoy the new things that we're adding, and the way that they're kind of intelligently mixed with the rest of the features in the game itself. So that we think that experience is part of what makes a Diablo game anyways, like making a new character, getting those item drops, like building up towards the end. With regards to like the way that we decided to conduct our efforts in seasons for Diablo 4, we think this is a really, really like the prime example of the way that we can make this work.
But I wanted you to hit on the point, the fact that if somebody buys the game,
yeah. They're not like fundamentally behind.
Yeah, if somebody,
before.
like, I'm gonna mess with the camera people. Can you? Yeah. You can't even do it, can you? You can't even get there. All we can do is I can just have my talking stuff. Oh, hey, what's going on? The notion of the thing that we're talking about is that we want, again, the game is a live service. The game's gonna live for years. We want somebody who buys the game a year from now to not feel like they're a year behind when it comes to. So one of the benefits of seasons is, in season 4, on day 1, you and I are both level 1. I bought it that day. You have owned the game for a year. We're in the same place, we can play together and have fun together. And so as opposed to everybody from this moment on is now falling behind, seasons allows us to have that fresh start for everybody, right?
Yeah, that's actually, I couldn't put it better myself. That serves as a really, really good opportunity for us to make sure that players have a starting point together when you want to come in a little bit later into the game experience. If you've taken a season or 2 off because something else came out, we want to make sure that it feels like, the most important thing for us in seasons, like kind of going off script in a different way now, is that like, when you're playing seasons and you're playing Diablo 4, you're having a great time. And when you've reached all the goals and done the things that you think are really, really important, and you want to go like take a break to go play something else for a little while, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. We do the same thing.
You don't fall behind,
But
yeah.
when a season rolls and there's new things for you to come check out, that's a great time to come back. Particularly if you had a good time playing before. That's exactly when you should come back and check out Diablo 4 fresh.
Okay, I'm out. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll be honest. When the next WoW expansion comes out, there's a non-zero chance that I'm going to play WoW for a while. But it's great to know there's a point that I can come back to Diablo 4 and everybody's on an even footing. Yeah.
Question here from Jeffrey Allen, and didn't specify the D4 or DI, so I'm actually going to ask both because I think this is relevant to both. Also,
Why do you have a new mic?
I actually don't know. But yeah, 2 mics, guys. I'm very
Adam. I'm too Mike Adam.
you have me in stereo.
I'm too Mike Adam.
Can you say which cosmetics will be transferring between characters? So for instance, like for Diablo Immortal, we'll ask this specifically for Diablo Immortal, and then we'll talk about Diablo 4. But in regards to transferring cosmetics, like if you ended up buying a cosmetic in Diablo Immortal, does that actually also appear in the Blood Knight?
So cosmetics purchased prior to the Blood Knight's release will not be retroactive. However, the what was the Mother's Lament set?
Hatred's Heritage.
Hatred's Heritage will be available for the Blood Knight.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. So going forward, there will be now new cosmetics available for the Blood Knight, just as they are for all the other classes in Immortal. And then I guess for D4, will cosmetics be transferring to seasons, and will they need to be reobtained? I know this was like a question that we get a lot from people in regards to transmogs, and if you salvage specific stuff, how does that work between characters from Eternal and Seasonal Realms?
Yeah, I believe that's all transferring over with you when you go into the new season. And obviously, every cosmetic set that you're purchasing via the store and via the Battle Pass, that stuff also is going to be carrying over with you.
Yes. If you ever unlock anything, your whole account has access to it forever. Is the current functionality.
Nice.
I shouldn't say it that way. It sounds like we're going to change it.
Yeah, don't use the word forever, ever.
Yeah.
Let's see. Nightmare. This is from Kincho Kimo. This is Nightmare Teleport was great, but why can't we just teleport right into dungeons rather than just to the entrance? So this one I think is interesting because Nightmare, we obviously incorporated the teleport here in 103. It was another thing that we had talked about where it was community feedback that we had gotten, and the team jumped on it really quickly to implement it in a specific way. We have been seeing a lot of feedback in regards to players having to teleport outside of dungeons and kind of go through like a couple load screens. It was a quick, implementation from the team and everything. So I know it's something that we've been hearing from our side, and it's something that we're going to be looking at more here in the future for optimizing and making sure that we can implement maybe in a better way from some of the features that we've been just kind of adding in really quickly. On Immortal, we have. Was there some sort of Castlevania inspiration with the Blood Knight? Looking very, very similar to some popular characters from that franchise. Very pretty vampire-ish people, but not vampires.
I think we discovered Adam's kink, by the way.
We can turn off Rod's mic now, so that's all we need to do. But yeah, was there any inspiration kind of thrown with the Blood Knight?
I think, when you're working with a tropic idea in fantasy like vampires, you take inspiration from all over. The spear thing puts us in mind of Vlad the Impaler. The aesthetic, you've already talked about some potential references, but I think for us is as much like what we take out as what we leave in. We don't want the Blood Knight to feel like a grab bag of all vampiricness. They are very specifically grotesque, blood, shadow, knightly weapons oriented, and so there were things like turning into mist, like turning into wolves, etc., that we immediately said, hey, these need to be off the table. And so in that regard, I think there's a lot of familiar that we're channeling, but there's also like a very dialed in identity for the class.
Awesome.
Everybody knows that it's necromancers that turn into mist.
Let's see. In regards to Diablo 4, we have, will you guys be nerfing or buffing in the middle of seasons, or will you be making changes after the season starts?
Yeah, it's a very good question. So, when
Oh,
we
this
think-
is from Godic, by the way. So there you go.
Okay,
I just
so
wanted
this is
to.
a real person. So yes, this is a good question. So we made a number of adjustments during the preseason period to make sure that we're bringing some builds back into where we expect them to be functionally and performance-wise. When we go into the season release, we do want to create structured moments in time that we're going to be talking about, I think, more in future streams. When we expect like buffs and nerfs to happen. So we have like a regular set of like patches that are going to be occurring after the season is released, where we have like a better schedule like in cadence when we're talking about these things. We really want to try to reserve like big nerfs and big buffs for only like extreme outlier cases, and really, things where like they're really damaging the end game experience for a number of players. So we want to try to keep that more constrained, and we also want to have just fewer general like off-cycle balance updates and things. So we're kind of keeping things more into this weekly cadence like we talked about.
So yeah, things will be pretty stable throughout the course of the season, unless, yeah, if one of the malignant powers, I know I've joked about them being broken, but if the zone lights on fire when you use a malignant power,
Yeah.
we're going to patch that. But otherwise, we're going to try and keep things stable.
I know we're running close on time because we were planning on this stream to be 90 minutes and we were 1 minute away. So I'm gonna lightning off a few questions. A big question within chat is
go.
obviously about stash space, which is something that we kind of just talked about a little bit earlier.
I'll say it real quickly though.
Yeah.
Like we definitely hear everybody about this. We are talking a lot about what we need to do with this. We've got good plans of things we can do to improve the situation. I know it's frustrating to hear me say like, what you were able to do this, like you could be able to do like nightmare dungeons this quickly, but like the reality is like we are moving really quickly on this, and we're gonna be trying to provide more space in the future, figuring out how like we're gonna get that accomplished.
Yeah, and also one thing to note is I know we talked about during campfire chats about how gems and so forth were going to be part of the materials in the future. So I know when that hits, like that will obviously free up a lot of stash
Yeah,
space
there's lots
for
of different ways
users
to kind of
and
like
stuff
slice away at this problem, and that's like an example of what we're trying to do to start trying to mitigate this a bit.
And then Jim, the Q guy, asked how much time between seasons. Still wants to level up his main. So in between seasons, obviously, we had talked about seasons lasting 3 months.
It's a minimum of 12 weeks. Sometimes
Yes.
it might be a little longer, but you'll always
Correct.
have at least 12 weeks to complete your season.
Correct. Yeah. So you guys will hear.
Based on the calendar dates, right? But
Yeah. So you guys will hear like no matter what within or like once we hit that 3 month period, you'll start to hear news about the next season actually hitting and everything like that. And then this one, I guess for Rod, are there any plans on new classes coming to Diablo 4? We've just
Rod.
heard about the Blood Knight, so they're now.
We have nothing to announce at this time.
Oh, wow, that was very
See,
strange.
Yeah, Rod sitting off camera can answer that perfectly. So yeah, that I think we're gonna wrap it here for today. Obviously, we talked a lot about all the stuff with Diablo Immortal for the Blood Knight coming out on July 13th. We also have for Diablo 4 Season 1, Season of the Malignant, which is going to be the patch will be on July 18th. And then the actual season starts on July 20th. We do actually have 2 blogs, one on DiabloImmortal.com and one on Diablo4.com. They'll be going live either right now or immediately after this live stream. That'll have all the details and information that we just talked about here on the stream. Yeah, lots of stuff coming up here for Diablo.
Patch this afternoon.
Oh yes, and there's a patch this afternoon. You'll be
before.
seeing. Oh, I forgot. That's why I have to do it immediately after the stream. I was trying to get out of it, guys. But we will have a patch. We'll have patch notes up on Diablo4.com. We have a patch article that will actually note, and we'll be updating people when that patch does hit. It is a client patch. It will require a download. It will be on all platforms. And yeah, lots of Diablo stuff coming up here in the next few weeks. Really excited. Happy Diablo family.
Yeah.
Tons of stuff coming up. I know we will be rating 2 Diablo content creators immediately after this stream. One on Twitch, which is Barricade, and the other one on YouTube, which is Killswitch. So make sure to tune into those guys. And thank you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in to the Diablo Developer Update live stream. And from everyone here on the Diablo team, we hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, everybody.